I've been thinking a lot about mental health and our big why. And I think there's a lot of people after the pandemic, during the pandemic, our mental health came into focus because everybody was inside. The governments were controlling us. I'm not going to get started on that, but your mental health, you worked like a dog, and your mental health suffered. And I feel most at peace when we get out here in the forest. So in the beginning, when we weren't here all the time, we were like, oh my God, we can't wait to get back to the forest. There's something to be said about forest bathing, that's for sure. And just sitting in silence, watching the insects and the bumblebees and the dragonflies. It's amazing. I still can't believe I heard wolves the other night. It's so quiet. You know, if I had to make a list of the top 5 reasons why you must, I'll say it again, why you must figure out a way to find your patch of paradise. Serenity, the peaceful tranquility of the countryside. I can't say enough about it. Listening to the crickets at night, no city noise. It's like your brain can rest. It's life-changing. It's life-changing, the stress and anxiety that you have when you're in the hustle bustle of the city and work. And, you know, there's a reason they call it the rat race, getting off the hamster wheel, getting off getting out of the city grind. And if you've ever had a nervous breakdown, or I think a lot of people had that in 9/11. That was a long time ago for me. And it was right before, you know, so many monumental things in my life at that time were happening. And I still did everything I could to escape the city. And there's a reason we do that. There's a reason. I think it's built into our DNA where we need to get back to our roots. We need to get back to the simple life. And it's not easy. Nobody said it was going to be easy. Figuring it out isn't going to be easy. But you really owe it to yourself to try and figure out a way to find your peace, find your joy, find your tranquil spot on the planet. Whether it's a forest, if it's the islands. For a while there, we were quite addicted to watching people's journeys on boats. doing the Great Loop, people who sold everything and lived on a sailboat, and we're like, oh my God, could we do that? But I think even though we love the water, I think we're land dwellers. There's too many variables. It's a little scary. Even though I took sailing when I was young, I couldn't do that. But number one reason, I don't know if it's the number one reason. Yeah, number one reason would be that quiet. The quiet. Number two would have to be simplifying your finances. The financial stress that I can't imagine our children and the following generations have. Downsizing and living simply. Our generation, I think, grew up in a very strange, no internet to internet reality and consumption and the next best iPhone. Like, I've changed my iPhone, I don't know how many times. Did I really have to? I don't think I had to. But the financial stress of getting rid of things, it's like John Lennon, getting rid of possessions. Definitely the financial aspect of it would be right up there. Selfishly, number three, I don't know if these are in the right order. I can't say for sure if they're in the right order. I think selfishly, having a better bond with your spouse and adventuring and enjoying and living and exploring the outdoors with your loved one, your best friend, struggles and all, is right up there with the top 5. Being a servant to your spouse, and when I say that, meaning honor them for who they are and let them be the best that they can be, and you can be the best that you can be, and you bring out the best of each other, even in the hard times and the struggles. And we all struggle with who's better at what, and not necessarily decision making, but asking for help is something that you got to work on, especially later in life. But there's a sense of joy I get out of helping my man with whatever it is that he needs, and there's a sense of care that comes along with when he helps me. I swoon. He's like my savior, he's my Marvel superhero. Everyone should have one, and he's definitely mine. He's the grizzly bear Marvel superhero. And I think one of the other things is really, maybe number 4 would be, figuring things out and learning learning new things. It's what we're built to do. Solving problems, building things with your hands, getting dirty, growing your own food. Oh my goodness. I think that would have to be a separate category, number 5. And I think that's up there on the list. I can't, you know what? Scratch that. I don't know what order these are in. The world's nutrition is gone to shit, for lack of a better term. People live, fast food, it's too convenient. Everybody wants instant gratification. I absolutely love the slow life. I absolutely love that I harvested zucchinis that I can make into, I'm going to do like a marmalade maybe, but jam or whatever. But the nutrition to make ourselves feel better, which goes hand in hand with that mental health. Feeding our bodies, our bodies suffered during the pandemic. Like they wouldn't not making you feel like you can't go outside is just criminal. And, you know, when you have boomer parents that are aging and you have children that are just discovering their health, and watching them embrace working out and getting healthy, and even though they love junk food, I think it's a testament to my younger years where I was always focused on my health, eating healthy, working out, eating healthy, working out. You're going to work and eating healthy, working out. Pandemic kind of, and other health or other life curveballs sometimes affect that, but there's always that focus. And I think like the boomer generation and the Great Depression generation, like my grandmother's generation, I don't really think they focused on that. They were smoking and swilling drinks and making my grandmother used to make this crazy vodka concoction she put in the freezer. She called it iced tea, with like 100% alcohol. And they still lived, even into their 80s. Some of them lived into their 90s. But I think it's because they were all country folk and they had a lot of fresh air and they grew their own vegetables, and there was a little bit of a balance there. But I think food really, I'm amazed at the people that grow like 80%, 90% of everything that they eat. And those are goals. Those are goals for me. I want to have a huge garden where we can feed ourselves, collect seeds, save seeds. But the quiet, the finances, the connection with your spouse, feeding yourself to be healthy, and mental health. Mental health, I think, is the most important one because that trickles into everything else. And I really wish that everybody can find this. Everybody can find their joy, find whatever it is that brings them joy, find whatever it is that can give you this freedom. It's doable. I went through many years of struggling and trying to figure it out. And, when you find someone that your goals are aligned, and when you're asking the universe to bring you that person, and you find the person that's going to rough it with you, you find the person that's going to live in the middle of nowhere with you, sleep under the stars, start from scratch, follow you anywhere. I'd follow him anywhere. And he says he would follow me anywhere. And we really, really were looking serious at the Yukon. But back to being close to our children, we found a place that's far enough away from all the nonsense, but close enough that they really could drive here. It's a long drive. We're talking like 6 hours. 6 hours. I try to tell my brother, it's like, oh, it's 4 hours. But nothing beats this. Heaven on earth. And when you have your favorite person in the world by your side. He's a little camera shy, and that's okay. I secretly film him. But kind of my love letter to him. And I don't know if you can hear that, but it's so quiet. And look at that sky. This patch of land right here, we always see sandhill cranes. And we are going to get some. Apparently, they are called the sirloin of the sky. And Chris has never hunted one. And it doesn't matter how old they are. Apparently, up to 40 years. It could be a 40-year-old. It could be a 40... Oh, look at... Is that a dust? It is. It's a dust devil. Can you see that? Apparently, even if they are a 40-year-old bird and they can actually live that long, they still taste like they're so tender. They taste apparently like sirloin steak. So we're gonna get on that. I have to get my hunting license. I have to get my firearm license. So those are things to come, which is exciting for me because I do want to participate in the hunts, not just cheerlead and hold guns every now and again. But that's all I have to say for now. I do appreciate. Thanks for listening. Hope you have a great day, and we'll see you on the next one. Can you hear that? I don't know if you can hear them, but there's pastures just northeast of us that have cows, a lot of cattle, bison. We love driving by the bison. We have dreams of maybe having large animals one day, but I think we will start with chickens for sure. But I'm just on my way out to gather more rose hips. I have no idea what I'm going to do with them. I'd love to hear if anybody actually has made anything with rose hips. One of our favorite channels. We've actually been watching a few for a long time because we have been dreaming about this for so long. And sometimes you just have to get out of your own way. Put pen to paper, pencil to paper, and write down exactly what you want, your dreams. I remember saying to Grizz when we started the oh my God, Freedom 50. Like 45. Like we started before we were 45. And I said to him when I was looking, because I love looking at real estate and I love researching and trying to figure that out. I said, honey, what's more important to you, fishing or hunting? And hands down, my man said, hunting. Hunting, walking out the door with a big iron on his hip. If you know the song, you know what I'm talking about. And I looked and looked and looked. We really would have loved to be in the Yukon or Alaska. But you know what? We have 6 kids and they're all starting their young adult life. And we thought, we don't want our children in this messed up economy to fly to us or us fly to them. So we compromised, and for most of his life, he hunted and fished at the French River. So anyone in Ontario knows French River, Pickerel River, that zone is paradise. And I actually love Killarney. Is probably in my top favorites for backcountry. And actually, Chris had never done backcountry until he met me. He only did like hunting with his dad, and he roughed it, but he didn't know, oh my gosh, there's a whole world where you can take a canoe and a pack and go to the middle of nowhere and fish. So our very first trip was Killarney, and it's one of my favorite because that was where I introduced him to my favorite thing in the world, paddling in the middle of nowhere. So we did actually look French River Zone. When I say triangles, I talked about that in another video where, there's a zone, kind of like a triangle. When you get into your 50s, there's certain things you really do need to think about. And yeah, I think the youngins out there killing it in their off-grid. I'm very curious. How close is the closest medical place? Because anything can happen. I've cut myself with the chainsaw. Chris has injured himself. Thankfully, nothing serious. But if something serious were to happen, you need amenities like healthcare services. If you got to go to the hospital. We're about a half an hour away from a healthcare center. So I think that's all right. But I tell you, this silence, this right here, I'm sitting next to a canola field. There's canola everywhere. The flowers aren't on it anymore. It's normally covered with the yellow flowers, but it's gone to seed. And definitely a lot of raw land. So there's a lot of fields where there's feed for the animals. There's soybeans, canola, and it's wild. I just love watching the farms in action whenever we're out and about exploring. And I'm actually sitting here. This is kind of like a dirt road right next to the farm. And this is loaded with, there's like raspberries, lots of raspberries, goldenrod. You could forage till your heart's delight out here, but I'm on my way to go get rose hips, and maybe choke cherries the choke cherries down by one of the big lakes. I just realized that when I put my hand up, and then when I put my hand back up, the camera comes back on. I couldn't figure that out. I couldn't figure out what was happening. But there's all these features that I'm learning how to use. So